ఇక్కడ బయట ఇంకే అర్థం కావట్లేదా? ఏం చేస్తున్నా? ఎంతసేపు ఏడు మొహం అండి.
శివగారు అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి.
Yeah, so we will continue from the slide that we had stopped on Wednesday. So we had stopped at the body protection, and there were some questions that was raised about the protection of body with regarding to the heat. So here, this is the fire proximity suit, that is aluminized 3-layer of fires proximity suit, as it is called. It has 3 layers. That is, the outer layer is made up of the thick aluminized glass fiber. The middle layer is waterproof and moisture barrier. And the innermost layer, it is flame retardant cotton. So these are the 3 layers that is composed of for this fire proximity suit that gives protection from the heat. Now here, if you see, this suit consists of 1 piece of the overall. This is then 2 pieces of hood and visor, the top part, and a pair of 5-finger gloves and shoes. So this is the total configuration of the suit. Apart from this, if you see that the safety shoe that is made up of neoprene sole, that is for the heat resistant. Then the heat resistance for this particular suit is from 800 degrees, and that is for retardant, but conventionally it is for 500 degrees centigrade. Now, how this fire retardant cotton is made? One of the methods that is involving this fire retardant cotton is by treating the cotton with the chemicals such as bromine, chlorine, or phosphorus compounds. These substances disrupt the combustion, making it harder for the fabric to catch the fire. Therefore, it is fire resistant. Now, other method of making this cotton as fire resistant or fire retardant is mixing certain chemicals, and this is 6 parts of borax, 5 parts of boric acid, 100 parts or 12 gallons of water in, and then you dip this cotton fiber until it is totally soaked. This process has to be repeated if it is needed, and it is allowed to dry. Once it is dry, then the cotton fabric becomes flame resistant. Then the classification of chemicals as per labeling. So here chemicals are classified into various hazards in accordance with the physico-chemical properties and the health hazard. Now so each class of this chemical has a pictorial symbol called the danger symbol, addressing the risk that is posed by the classification of the chemical. So here this is NFPA. It has 4 parts. This is called diamond. The first one is always blue color. It shows the health hazard. The second one is the fire hazard. And third one is the reactivity and the special hazard. If anything is there, it has to be mentioned. Now all these has the ratings of 0 to 4. That is the maximum. 4 is the maximum. And for any of the chemicals, further details can be found from the MSDS of that particular chemical. Now, what are the duties of and responsibilities of safety officer with regarding to the chemical safety? Now, here if you see, maintaining a register of all the hazardous chemicals that is to be checked. If stores person is there, if he is maintaining a register, then HSC person, it is mandatory that he will verify it periodically. Identify the risk of physical and the chemical reaction of hazardous chemicals and ensuring the stability of the chemicals. As we have talked in previous class that the compatibility of the chemicals has to be seen. All the flammable chemicals has to be put separately. Non-flammable chemicals has to be separated, and the reactive chemical incompatible reactive chemicals has to be separated. Now, this is to ensure that the standards are ensuring that the exposing standards are not exceeded. Now, other responsibilities of safety officer with regarding to chemical safety, that is provision of health monitoring to the workers if required. This depends upon the company management policy, if they appoint any, or if they have tie-ups with the hospitals, and if the company feels that it is mandatory as per their policy that the workers' health has to be monitored, then it is the responsibility of the safety officer to check that the workers have been undergoing health monitoring and their certificates are submitted to HSE department. Then provision of information, training, instruction, and workers are to be kept with regard to chemical safety. Then provisions of still containment system for all hazardous chemicals if necessary. It is not if necessary, it always necessary. So chemical spill containment kits has to be kept in the within your workplace wherever if there is chemical spills, then it is mandatory that you train the people how to contain, or you also take part in the containment of the spills. Then obtaining the current MSDS from the manufacturer, importer, or the supplier of the chemical. This is important as we had discussed in the previous class that any new chemical or unknown chemical that is new to the work site, you can ask the manufacturer or supplier to give you the MSDS. If it is not supplied, then it is the responsibility of the safety officer to provide adequate data for the particular chemical. Then ensuring that chemicals are labeled correctly, controlling ignition sources and accumulation of flammable and combustible substance. Now here, what should a safety person do? if he finds a chemical without a label, what would be the first response? Yes.
First, we will put the cyanide at the temporary chemical storage area. Then we will test the chemical, so we can identify.
No. Yeah. First, whom you will report?
To our supervision or higher officer.
Okay, then.
Then we will inform to our company.
Yeah, that is already done through your supervisor. Then.
Then we will make a report for chemical testing.
Then.
Sorry, the chemical are the correctly labels and controlling ignition source and the accumulations. Flammable.
Yes. Yes, go ahead. See, by default, if any chemicals are found without label, safety officer directly considers that it is expired and it has to be removed. No more testing and identifying a chemical, what it is. Simple. It is as simple as that. Because he will also check the inventory of the stores. He will identify which chemicals are expired. Whichever expired chemicals are there, that has to be removed as per the procedure of that particular state or the country. Then second thing, if any chemical that is found by safety officer that doesn't have any labelless, nameless, simply you should treat it as an expired chemical and remove from there. No more identification. Then provision and availability of fire protection.
One more time can explain, sir, in Telugu, so we can understand better.
Yes.
And same point, can you repeat?
In Telugu, in English or Telugu?
Telugulo చెప్పండి సార్ ఒకసారి.
ఇప్పుడు డ్యూటీస్ ఆఫ్ సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ చెప్పుకుంటున్నాం. ఇప్పుడు సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్ ఏంటంటే పీరియాడికల్గా స్టోర్స్కి వెళ్ళి ఇన్వెంటరీ చెక్ చేస్తాడు, స్టోర్స్ కూడా ఆడిట్ చేస్తాడు. ఆడిటింగ్ ప్రాసెస్లో హెచ్ఎస్సి పర్సన్కి సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్కి ఎక్స్పైర్డ్ కెమికల్స్ ఏమైనా కనబడ్డాయి అనుకోండి, ఫస్ట్ ఏంటంటే తీయమని చెప్పేయాలి. ఆ తీయడం అంటే డైరెక్ట్ డిస్పోజ్ చేయడం కాదు. ఆ కంపెనీ పాలసీ ఏముందో, లేదా స్టేట్ ఏ స్టేట్లో ఉన్నారో ఆ స్టేట్ లాస్ ఏం చెప్తుందో, ప్రొసీజర్ ఏముందో ఆ ప్రొసీజర్ ఫాలో అయ్యి తీసేయాలి. రెండోది ఏంటంటే సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్ ఆడిట్ చేసేటప్పుడు స్టోర్స్లో ఏ కెమికల్స్కైనా లేబుల్ లేదు లేదా నేమ్ లేదు అంటే అది ఎక్స్పైర్డ్ కెమికల్ కింద ట్రీట్ చేయాలి. అది తీసుకొని వెళ్ళేసి ఆ ఇన్వెంటరీ తీసుకొని మళ్ళీ కంపారిజన్ చేసి ఇది ఏ కెమికల్ అని ఐడెంటిఫై చేయవలసిన అవసరం లేదు. సింపుల్ రూల్ ఏం చెప్తుంది అంటే అన్లేబుల్డ్ అన్నేమ్డ్ కెమికల్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయి అంటే సైట్లో నుండి తొలగించాలి. అది
Without identification, నా క్వశ్చన్ సార్, without identification మనం how to dispose these chemicals? That is the main important thing.
Yes.
Without identification, how we will dispose the chemical?
You tell me how you will identify a chemical. Okay, let us say you have found in your audit that in your company there is a chemical without a label. Now you tell me how you will identify the chemical.
We will send to the laboratory so we can identify the chemicals, right?
Do you think that the company will take the allocate a little amount for going for HPLC GCMS procedure to identify the structure of that chemical, molecular weight of the chemical, expending thousands of rupees just only for chemical analysis?
So how we will dispose the chemical?
See, that's what I told. As per company policy, procedure of disposal with relation to the legal laws applicable for the state within India or with the procedure and legal formalities of that particular country, whatever procedure it is.
Okay.
See, to identify a chemical structure, it takes a lot of procedure.
Yes,
The
sir.
chemical has to be injected into GCMS, where it costs thousands of rupees for one chemical analysis. And if it is organic chemical, then it goes for higher expenses. I don't think any company will go for this procedure to just to identify what is the chemical and dispose it out. And that too in India.
Okay, sir.
It's no one does. That's what I told. As per no, okay. Even if your company it has what you call your company has labeled chemicals and it is expired. How will you dispose that particular chemical? Yes, how will you dispose that? There must be a procedure for disposing even the labeled expired chemicals, isn't it? The same thing will follow here.
Okay, sir.
The provision and availability of fire protection, firefighting equipment, and emergency equipment for chemical spills are to be always checked. Then preparing for an emergency plan if the quantity or the class of hazardous chemical at the workplace exceeds manifest quantity there for that hazardous chemical. Now, this means if there is enough quantity of leak that can cause a major problem to the environment or to the workforce, then all the emergency plan has to be pre-written and get what you call should be approved by the management. Then stability and support for the containers of bulk containers of the hazardous chemical, including the pipe work and attachments. Now you see that the different types of chemical containers are being supplied, and now certain chemicals that are imported from other countries. You can see that metal cage is there, white color. What you call? You have a tank, and it is on the pallet. So more stability is given to those hazardous chemicals to handle and transport. So that type of care also has to be taken during transporting and shifting of the chemicals. Decommissioning of underground storage and handling system and notifying the regulator as soon as practicable of abandoned tanks in certain circumstances. Now this means once you decommission certain storages that are there, then proper care has to be taken whatever as per the company procedure and at that particular circumstances that is applicable. Now, what are the duties and responsibilities of the workers? The following follow the health and safety instructions that is given by safety person, training also given by safety person, or the instructions that is given by his supervisors. Follow safe work practices, that is the SOP, take reasonable care for their own health and safety. This is very important. Take reasonable care that their actions do not adversely affect to the health and safety of the others. So this is again the primary role of the workers, where they don't hurt themselves or their co-workers. Participate in training and other inductions. Assist in identifying, assessing, and managing the risk, because this is a part of the risk assessment program, or whatever you are following GSA or whatever it is, but you also consider that the workers are also taken into considering in identifying and addressing the hazards and risk. Use appropriate safety system, equipment and PPEs as required for the chemicals that is being used, depending upon the MSDS that provides the data. So here HAZCAM safety, in short, 5 steps. Know where the material safety data MSDS is kept. Safety person should always take care that separate file has to be prepared, printed for each and every MSDS, file it up, keep one copy with him and keep another copy in the stores. Then store chemical in an appropriate storage facility. Put chemicals away when not in use. Keep chemicals in their original containers. This is very important. Dispose of chemicals in an appropriate manner, environmental friendly. This is what I was speaking about. As per company policy, procedure, and applicable laws. And then some of the chemical safety signs. This is general common danger, but apart from that, the labeling is also done. Some of the labels you can see here for HCl, for chlorine gas and other things. So anyone having any more doubts, anything to be repeated in this particular topic, please feel free to discuss. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask. Mr. Babu, your question, spill kit contains where we have to dispose without environment harm. This we have another separate topic for what all chemical spills and containment. There we will discuss about this. The contents of spill kit. What is the method of disposing? So here I'm not going to take because again you have another lesson about this. So I'll discuss in that. It is bit in little bit in detail. So there we can see what the things your questions are. So any other questions?
We'll move, sir. Next.
So I'll go with the next topic. So this biomedical waste management rules 1998 and amendments 2016. This is under IS 105. In this, I'll be taking into two parts. One is what the rule says, and the second thing is what is biomedical waste and how to handle. What are the different sources of biomedical waste? How to segregate them and different things. So let us see the first part of this. So this medical waste management is one of the part because now if you see corporate hospitals are also now employing the HSC person. So he should have minimum knowledge of what biomedical waste is and how to handle about that. So let us see what is biomedical waste management. How do we define that? BMW, that is biomedical waste management, refers to completely removing of all the hazards and infectious waste generated from hospital settings. ఇప్పుడు బయోమెడికల్ వేస్ట్ అంటే చూడండి, ఇది IS 105లో ఉంది. ఈ పేపర్లో ఏంటంటే రెండు భాగాలుగా తీసుకుంటా. ఫస్ట్ పార్ట్లో ఏంటంటే ఈ రూల్స్ ఏం చెప్తుంది అనేది జనరల్గా ఉంటుంది. రెండో పార్ట్లో ఏంటంటే బయోమెడికల్ వేస్ట్ అంటే ఏంటి, ఎట్లా జనరేట్ అవుతుంది, మనం ఎట్లా సెగ్రిగేట్ చేయాలి, ఎట్లా డిస్పోజ్ చేయాలి, బయోమెడికల్ వేస్ట్కి సోర్సెస్ ఏంటి, ఇవన్నీ కూడా కొద్దిగా డీటెయిల్లో చూద్దాం. సో ఫస్ట్ పార్ట్కి రాబోతుకి బయోమెడికల్ వేస్ట్ ఏంటంటే hazardous తర్వాత ఇన్ఫెక్షన్స్ వేస్ట్ హాస్పిటల్స్ లేదా క్లినిక్స్ నుండి లేదా బయోకెమికల్ ల్యాబొరేటరీస్ నుండి జనరేట్ అయ్యే వేస్ట్ ని మనం బయోమెడికల్ వేస్ట్ అంటాం. The importance of waste treatment is to remove all the pathogenic organisms by decontaminating the waste generated. So here so this is the main theme of biomedical waste management, that is to kill the pathogenic organisms and decontaminating it that the hospitals or the laboratories generate. ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే బయో వేస్ట్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ లో ఏంటంటే మెయిన్ పర్పస్ దీనికి రెండు. ఒకటి ప్యాథోజన్స్, అంటే దాంట్లో ఉన్నటువంటి క్రిములు ఏమైతే ఉన్నాయో హాస్పిటల్ జనరేట్ అయిందో వాటిని కిల్ చేయడం. రెండోది ఏంటంటే డీకాంటామినేషన్ చేసిన తర్వాతే అది మనం డిస్పోజ్ చేయాలి. అది మెయిన్ థీమ్ ఇక్కడ. Now, can anyone tell whether we have in Vizag, do you have any waste management here? Or in the city where you have, do you have bio waste management, any company doing voluntarily for the hospitals? Did anyone see this medical waste being taken away by some organization and treating it free of cost, or taking charging some money and going, or government organizations doing that? In Hyderabad Medicare, okay. So here some of the biomedical waste. And see, this is the symbol for biomedical waste. Here you can see on the dustbin. On this dustbin also you can see. So this is the symbol for biomedical waste. If this symbol is found, that means the container has the biomedical waste in that. So here, short title and commencement of the rules. These rules may be called Biomedical Waste Management and Handling Rules 1998. They shall come into force on the day of their publication of official gazette. Now here, you should take into grant that any laws made by the parliament or the state, it becomes a law only after that has been published into the official gazette. Even if the laws are made and if it is not published in the gazette, that means that it is not a law. So here in 1998, this biomedical waste management and handling came into force. These rules apply to all the person who generate, collect, receive, store, transport, treat, dispose, handle biomedical waste in any form. So these rules is applicable to the list that I have told. So here, this is the segregation method. You can see from the hospitals or clinics, or it may be from your biomedical labs or diagnostic centers. Now, different colors are being used to inform the different types of waste to be disposed. Now, here in the last, you can see what is the method of disposal and how it has to be treated. Now, different types of chemicals that waste is being generated. General waste, you have green color. Infected plastic, maybe the syringes, gloves, or whatever it is, it has to go into red. Infected waste, any chemical liquid, cytotoxic waste from the laboratories, medicines, all has to go into the yellow color. Glassware, whatever the glassware is there, that has to be disposed into the blue. And sharp needles or glasses has to go into special bag. You can see that red color. But here in this one disposal method, you can see general waste is inserted here Incineration is the process of disposing into the environment. Then, now this you can see from red to blue, all are autoclaved. That means again, autoclaving method has to be applied to disinfect it, to kill the pathogens. Now, plasma pyrolysis, it has to be done again. This is also incineration method. Incineration method can be a general or it can be a pyrolysis method. Now, the last one you can see here, it is also by autoclaving method. This autoclaving method ensures that the organisms, microorganisms are killed. It is decontaminated and only then it is to be removed from the facility. So important definitions of this particular act. Act means the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Animal house. Now this animal house is used to rear the animals for the testing purpose or for the experiment purpose. In most of the people who are working in the hospitals or people who are associated with the pharma industry, they know very well that certain medicines are tested onto these animals before it is going for the clinical trials. So such animals, even if that may die during course of the experiment or testing, even these animals has to be disposed of according to the act. Authorization means the permission granted by the prescribed authority for generation, collection, reception, storage, transportation, treatment, disposal in any form of handling of the bio waste in accordance with the rules and guidelines. So here the central government has formed certain rules for all these. Only according to these rules, it has to be disposed of or it has to be treated. Now, who is the authorized person? Authorized person is the occupier or the operator by prescribed authority to generate, collect, receive, transport, treat, dispose, handle biomedical waste in accordance to the rules or any guidelines issued by the central government. Now, what is biomedical waste? Now, this waste can be generated during diagnosis or it can be treatment of human beings or it can be treatment for animals, research activities, or it can be in course of production